live and pre-recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on August 23rd to hit the internets on August 24th. I'm a day late. Did you make it? Did you get through your Tuesday? Did you say, where is the Red Ticket Blues podcast? And you just scoured Twitter looking for more Harambe memes. Listen, the Harambe meme, the Harambe phenomenon is dead. It's been fucking killed by the internet. The internet always kills everything. The Cincinnati Zoo actually got rid of their Twitter account because it was being hacked by people. The people with the Harambe shirts. Barstool's gone too far with this shit. Enough. Let the gorilla, rest in peace. Anyways, you can listen to the Red Ticket Blues podcast on iTunes, TuneIn, Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. So like I said, a day late, and I apologize. Normally, Tuesday morning, shit's dropping. You're listening. But we can blame it on my friend Scott, because my friend Scott is visiting from Australia. He lives there. That's why he'd be visiting from there. And I said goodbye to him last night. And interesting story about Scott. It pertains to the podcast in a certain way. You see, Scott lives in Australia, and one day he was working. He works at a university in Ballarat, Australia. We all know where Ballarat is. It's right near Melbourne, obviously. And he saw a young man who played Australian rules football, kicking an American football. And he said, you know what? You'd be pretty good at that. And he said, yeah, you think so? He goes, you're kicking that really well. Like, you could probably be a pretty good punter maybe in the American, playing American football. And that person happened to be Lachlan Edwards, the starting punter for the New York Jets. So I actually had lunch with my friend Scott and Lachlan Edwards on Saturday. Very down-to-earth guy. Very cool. He's a rookie, just drafted out of Sam Houston State in the 7th round by the Jets. And he's just sort of, experienced everything, really enjoying the ride. Very down-to-earth guy, though. And we will have him on the podcast, hopefully sooner rather than later. So he has agreed, and we will get that as soon as possible. So I got that news, breaking, but that was the reason it was a day late. So send all your grievances to, I won't give his Twitter name. It's affiliated with work, so I'll spare him that. Anyways, how's everybody? A week from today, I end my job. Monday. No, today's Tuesday. A week from that. And next Thursday, I go out to California to live my life. That's right. After 36 years in the Northeast, we're taking it west. We're taking it to the other side. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but let's jump into. Should I get my wife for this? I was going to talk about Josh Brown and the domestic abuse issue going on in the NFL. Well, the ongoing domestic abuse issue and how the NFL can never really seem to nail down what an appropriate punishment is for the appropriate crime. Maybe we should get a female perspective here. Let me get her. Let's see. Okay, so I have my wife here, and we're enjoying some premium Beck's beer. Do you enjoy the beer?
You couldn't get any craft beer for this session?
Apparently not. It's pretty. It's hard to go back with shit like this.
Yeah, well, guess it'll do the trick for tonight.
Are you enjoying it?
No, not really.
Okay, so I brought you in here. The NFL, as we know, has had a long issue with domestic violence and what the appropriate suspension should be for appropriate crimes. They always seem to be sort of falling all over themselves, not doing the right thing, and sort of out of their element. Would you agree?
Yes, okay. I do.
So the kicker for the New York Giants, Josh Brown, he was arrested, I believe last year, for a domestic dispute with his wife. And I guess there were charges filed. No one was arrested. She revealed that incidents like this had happened 20 times. Again, police reports really don't, they were only called twice. They show pictures of her wrist, and it looks like someone grabbed her wrist. So what I look at from this standpoint is, and what has happened, the NFL has suspended Josh Brown for one game.
For just one game?
Right, for one game. Now, this is where it gets tricky with me.
Okay.
It's tough because they really don't have a ton of evidence to say, should he be suspended? But the NFL, what do they always see? What do you always see during those NFL games. Those
commercials, yeah.
Saying...
With the men crying.
Well, Chris Carter's crying. Not all of them.
Yeah.
But what are they all saying? They're saying, no more.
Yes.
No more, no more. So what's happened now is, the NFL, after the Ray Rice incident, which basically changed domestic abuse for all athletes, I'd say. That changed the game.
I would agree, yeah.
You would agree, good. The NFL instituted a policy that said 6 games minimum for any domestic abuse.
Okay.
So, well, I look at it and say, I'm not trying to defend Josh Brown. He's probably a pretty big scumbag from what it sounds like. It also sounds like the wife's a little crazy too. Not victim blaming, but he has also called the police on her, where he has called the police on her for abusing him. It sounds like a pretty bad relationship, and now they are divorced.
Okay.
So my question is, why isn't the NFL sticking by what it says? Oh. And why are the Giants who like to pride themselves on being this classy organization? What's wrong?
They're sticking up for him?
Well, it's a kicker. They're not cutting him. You know what I mean? This is not... and kickers are part of the game. I mean, you do need kickers. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But, the Giants, this isn't like Eli Manning, and they're sticking to him and saying, oh, let's not do anything. Let's not be rash here. This is... this is Josh Brown. The Giants, you get new kickers. It's just strange. And lo and behold, where is Mr. Commissioner Roger Goodell conspicuously?
Silent.
No one knows where he is. Probably planning a new... So
what's the argument against the giving...
I sort of look at it in a sense where, people say, well, the Ray Rice thing was handled terribly. Yeah, it was. And you know what? There was video of a terrible punch in the face. There's
records of this, right?
Right, but the records really show that the police showed up there. They said there really wasn't anything, and then they left.
Dispute. Yeah. Okay.
Now, the NFL does have a history as well where you don't have to be convicted of a crime. Ben Roethlisberger was suspended for 4 games. True. It's just a really tricky situation because I don't want to sit here and try to defend Josh Brown when he probably sounds like a big dirtbag. But at the same time, this also presents an instance where someone could just call the police on the husband if they're angry and say, well, we're having an issue. Should that guy be suspended?
But it's happened over 20 times.
She said it's happened over 20 times. She has not called the police over 20 times. The police have come twice. You see what I mean now? She has said it's happened. And I'm not calling her a liar. It's probably may have. I would probably put more credence to say that it did happen. Yeah. But, this is where you get into the realm of victim blaming if we don't have all the facts. Mm-hmm. But it's just when you're going to deem a punishment on someone, this is a lot of money we're talking about. It's just a sticky situation, I think. I don't think there's a perfect answer here, and I think what people like to do is because the NFL can't get out of its own way half the time, they like to pile on and say, the NFL did it wrong, NFL did it wrong. And listen, they want to constitute a minimum 6-game penalty, then maybe they did get it wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time... But here's another thing about it. Completely walking away from the domestic violence issue. People are outraged, right? Mm-hmm. People don't like it. People are fed up and say the NFL fucked up again. Mm-hmm. All those people are watching the NFL on Sunday. I've said it before on this podcast. People can, be ashamed to be a fan, and they can all this outrage.
Well, it's like what we were listening on about on FAN. I think it was
that was fun.
Evan. What?
That was fun, right? When we listened to FAN, was that every day?
Well, talking about the Jose Reyes situation and how fans responded to that. On the one hand, people brought up the domestic violence issue, but when he came back to the Mets, fans, Evan was saying that fans were actually more pissed off about...
he sat out, or he bunted on the last play of the game, or his last game of the season, so he could hold on to his batting crown for that year, instead of, perhaps grounding out, flying out the rest of the game. He bunted, had 1 hit, called it a game. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Well, you're talking about the hypocrisy in the NFL. You can just, that carries over. I think it's part of this, the fandom issue, too.
Well, I think, like I said before, where's Roger Goodell? Here's the thing. Roger Goodell can treat the fans like shit. He can treat everyone like crap. because the same people that are tweeting and saying that they're so upset and outraged about this Josh Brown thing, guess what? They're going to be tweeting about their fantasy team in 2 weeks. They're going to be tweeting about the spread on Seattle versus Cincinnati. They're going to be tweeting about can't wait to get these 4 o'clock games. They're going to be watching everything.
Okay, so what are you upset about the hypocrisy of the fans or hypocrisy?
A little bit of both.
Okay,
a little bit of both, I think. It reminds me, and you won't get the reference at all. The NFL continues to sort of, most people when they make a mistake.
Why won't I get the reference?
Okay, Sideshow Bob. All right, there we go. Sideshow Bob steps on a rake. The rake, he steps on it, pole hits him in the face. Normal person would say, "Ow, that hit me in the face." I'm not going to do that again. The NFL continues to get hit in the face over and over and over again. But you know what? They obliterate the rake.
Well, then
terrible analogy.
But it's a question of then they don't have clear policies then, right?
But I think going back.
What are you
going back to FAN? We heard Richard Neer say this week. Because, all we do is drive around the car and listen to WFAN
apparently.
too, by the way. Richard Neer said, not every crime is the same. Not every incident
obviously.
is the same. So, let's say I played in the NFL. Say it. say it.
No.
Okay. Let's say I was a wide receiver in the NFL, right? And you got really angry at me tonight.
I'm not playing this game.
Okay, well, let's say Joe Schmo down the street then, if you don't want to do it that way. Plays in the NFL. Wife got really angry. He was messing around on her. Calls, says, he threatened me. He pushed me against the wall. It never happened. I mean, is that 6 games?
No, I mean, obviously, if what you're saying is true and that's what happened, then obviously that's not 6 games.
I think it's a tough, tough case with Josh Brown.
You do have to be careful with the victim blaming as well.
Exactly.
So,
no, but what you look at is it's Josh Brown. You don't want to.
That's the problem why women don't come forward as well.
Oh, I understand. That's a whole part of the domestic violence cycle.
Yeah.
But don't tell me that there aren't women out there who elaborate stories, or people who elaborate stories, I should say.
Well, yeah. But
it's just a slippery slope. But you know what? The main aggressor here, the main, not aggressor, it's the wrong word, but the main culprit outside of Josh Brown is the NFL, just because they've instituted that 6-game minimum mandatory suspension. So I don't know where they can come across with the 1-game suspension. I almost look at it as this was an incident.
They have to give him something.
And I think that's ridiculous. They either give him nothing or they give him 6 games. Mm-hmm. The idea that you give him 1 game is ridiculous because you're just going against what you said.
And what was their reasoning for 1 game?
Oh, I'd have to look up the exact wording, but Jason Pierre-Paul said it's not that big of a deal at all.
Which part? The 1 game or
just the fact? Let's see. What's the headline here? Jason Pierre-Paul on Josh Brown's alleged domestic violence. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well.
He's also a guy, obviously, who doesn't make sound decisions when half of his fingers are somewhere in someone's yard in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. So, I just thought I don't think there's any clear answer here. Again, I really think he should be suspended for 0 games or 6 games. I don't know where the 1 comes into.
I agree with that.
I'm glad we agree.
On this.
Oh. What about other things? Do you want to stick around here on the next subject?
What's the next subject?
Ryan Locthe.
The liar.
So I will never look at U.S. swimming the same again.
Stop! Like you're a fan of U.S. swimming.
I watch every match. Do you think we have all those sports channels for nothing? I watch the college swim meets. University of Texas this year has a great breaststroke guy.
Shut up.
Okay. So Ryan Locthe, who has been long painted as this great swimmer, obviously Olympian swimmer, also a mimbo.
A mimbo.
Right. Remember?
Yes.
Dan Cortez,
yes.
Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Okay. A mimbo. And what do you think happened that night? Because we've gotten an apology about what happened in Rio de Janeiro. Because Ryan Locthe, obviously, he lied to his mother, too, by the way. He said that he was held up. And he also said that when
very muffled apology. It's an
I don't think
apology that made no sense. It wasn't an apology.
He doesn't have much of a brain.
Yeah,
He's a fucking idiot. Again, a mimbo.
Yeah,
Step off, George. Step off. There's not going to be a next time.
Okay.
You get it?
Okay. Yeah.
But he, I guess he also told Matt Lauer that his original story, he was still drunk from the night before.
Yeah, no, he keeps elaborating and getting it more messed up. He can't,
like an A-Rod thing.
He can't seem to get out of his own cycle of lies.
See, what I never completely understood was how did him getting robbed have anything to do...
He never got robbed.
Right, but how did that one story correlate to what actually happened?
They made it up.
I know, but one didn't justify them. You know what I mean? It just, what was the cover-up, though? It didn't make any sense, is what I'm saying.
The cover-up, they must have done... They were drunk. They went to this gas station. Who knows what they did, right? There was some peeing. There was some other...
Who hasn't peed all over a gas station?
It's classy, definitely.
I didn't say it wasn't classy.
Then a security guard shows up, and some other guy mediated. I think it was probably a language translation issue went on, but yeah, I mean, they got in trouble because they were being drunk and stupid, and yeah.
Ryan Locthe seems like
just shameful. Yeah,
he seems like that ultra douchebag in high school, wearing the Letterman jacket, totally looking down upon everyone.
Thinks he can get away with it because they're well-known swimmers.
He totally reminds me of the douche guy in the Goonies.
Okay.
Are you a Goonies fan?
I know.
Remember the guy who wants to... Josh Brolin's like nemesis in it. That like arrogant guy who remember, he grabs his hand as he's in the car while Josh Brolin's on the bike. And then flies off the hill as if the mountain, as if that's like funny. Like he would have died.
Yes.
I clearly haven't gotten over it.
I can tell.
Like that's fucked up.
Okay, going back to your.
But Locthe,
swimmers, yeah.
I don't know. It's
Well, he's lost a lot of endorsements.
Well, here's the thing too.
So he lost some millions because of.
He's 31, 32 years old. A lot of times when some scandal comes out or whatever with these athletes, they say, "Oh, he's lost all the sponsors. What will we do?" You know, quietly, they make a big deal when you lose the sponsors. Quietly, they come back. You know, Kobe Bryant lost all of his sponsors after the sexual assault, which was dropped, and then his image was still soiled as an adulterer. They all came back. Every single one of them came back. The problem with Ryan Locthe is he's a little old now for being an Olympian, to be a swimmer.
He also matters every 4 years.
That too, but I mean, this is a big deal for him because
I get it.
Where's he going to make his money? These Olympians live off of sponsors.
No, I get that. Yeah, so it's huge. He lost millions.
I mean, will we ever see Ryan Locthe swim again? I mean, for me, it'll be the first time, but
I thought you watched him all the time.
Oh shit!
And all the rest of the
God, I completely contradicted myself, huh?
Yeah.
Were you astounded by Michael Phelps? How much Olympics did you watch?
Not much at all.
Yeah.
No.
No, the basketball?
No.
Carmelo Anthony says that...
Michael Phelps, you brought him up and you just dropped him?
Have you listened to the podcast before? I am all over the place all the time.
Yeah, I can tell. No, how about the cupping was like the big thing?
I don't understand what that is. Do you know about cupping?
Yeah.
What is it? Can you explain?
No, I cannot explain it, but it's
I thought it was a big birthmark.
No, it's part of the acupuncture. It's a procedure that an acupuncturist performs and helps with muscle tension and alleviates pain and whatnot. And he obviously had it done multiple times during the course of this, I assume. That's why he had them all over him. So,
yeah, he looked like a freak. There's some sort of giant Zika thing that was getting him or something. It looked weird.
Okay. Well.
Actually, I don't even know what Zika bite looks like, so.
I'm sure it looks like a regular mosquito bite.
That's what you said. Carmelo Anthony said that he is more proud. He is the first 3-time Olympic champion in basketball in USA history. And he said that this means more than any NBA championship could. Do you believe him?
No. That's because he doesn't have it.
Francesco went off on him. He goes, that is the biggest bunch of garbage I've ever heard.
Well, it's because it's a ridiculous statement.
Yes. Do you think Melo actually believes it?
No.
Okay. All right.
He just had to say something. He's won at something. So. Right.
What do you think about the Knicks this year? They've sort of brought... You're sort of a weird... Not a weird... You're like a... Kind of a Chicago Bulls fan and sort of some of your... Not your favorite players, because your favorite player is still there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
But Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah are now Knicks. What do you think about that?
But they're past their prime.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Well,
so
Noah definitely. Rose.
He's just so injury prone though.
He is. And
Porzingis, yeah, it'll be good to see him develop more this year. See what happens. I don't think they'll win. No.
Okay. All right.
I think they're still
since
developing.
you haven't been on the podcast in a while. What do you think about Kevin Durant going to the Warriors?
Ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
How dare you? He should be able to choose wherever he wants. Do you want to get chastised by all of the do-gooders on Twitter?
He can choose wherever he wants to go, but you would want him to either stay with the Thunder and just kind of keep building upon the success that team has had, but not go somewhere.
It's a cop-out.
It's kind of when LeBron went to Miami. I understood the reasoning was different, and he was it different actually?
Well, he brought his talents to South Beach.
Yes, I know. Yeah, okay.
They were going to win 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, they went to.
No, he got the job.
They went to the finals 4 years in a row.
But what is and this is something you've said? What is Durant bringing to the table?
Well, how are they improving?
That exactly.
They went to Game 7 of the NBA Finals, had the best regular season ever. How is he making that team better? And
so, who is he replacing? Who is now?
I think Harrison Barnes is no longer on the team, but I mean, that's going to be quite a team with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry.
No, I mean he
Draymond
will
Green.
be a great addition, and I'm not. That's great.
It's only one basketball,
there, but that's the problem. That's
Klay Thompson said he's not changing his game for anyone,
and I just think he's going to add more drama. It's just going to be more egos in one.
It's true.
In one locker room, one team. So
it's true. So
it could be dangerous.
Moving on to a different subject.
Moving on.
What did I want to talk about? You want more? You want more Becks? You're going to stay with us here, huh? So I was talking about how we are moving.
Yep.
To California. Next week. And this is what I do just because it's such a big move for me. I've been in New England my entire life. Not like you. You've been
other places.
Yeah. I was going to say you've been around, but
that would be.
I guess I just said it though, huh? So I looked up and we had this conversation.
Yeah.
East Coast personality versus West Coast personality.
Okay.
And I just thought it was interesting because, primarily a lot of people that listen to this podcast are the East Coast people. So here's an example because, I just went into Google and said East Coast personality versus West Coast personality. So this is what somebody in San Francisco... Can I read? I'll read it. This is what someone in San Francisco would say about something. So I understand and honor where you come from here, and I can see how in circumstances that you might feel that way. But I'm not sure that in the place where I'm in right now, I completely feel the same way about it. And someone from Boston would say, dude, that's stupid. That would be their response. What do you think about that?
What do I think about?
Do you think that's accurate? Are you worried about the way people act when we go to California?
No. Are you?
A little bit. I'm a little afraid.
Because people won't be as direct and possibly, I don't know, rude.
I mean, I'm not going to miss the rude part, but I don't need to, beat around the bush to get to some...
Or dance around the bush.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave our friends behind. Men with hats.
Okay.
Men without hats.
So this is something that worries you?
A little bit.
That people will beat up.
And then, remember the time thing I talked about?
Yes.
I should tell that. So I read an instance here. People are probably just like, what the hell is going on? But I read an instance about somebody who said an East Coast person and a West Coast person waiting for somebody at a restaurant. So an East Coast person would get there 15 minutes early. 5 minutes before the person would arrive, would start counting the amount of minutes and then counting the amount of minutes that person is late. And a West Coast person, it would be completely normal for them to just say 15 minutes afterwards, say, hey, can't make it. Sorry. And if that happened when the East Coast person was the other person, they would remember that for days, weeks, months, even years. And that's completely accurate. I remember my friend Bo, was an hour late to pick me up for the mall once. Yes, we went to the mall. That's what we did. We weren't looking for girls at 16. Come on, we were going to the mall 40 minutes away in Trumbull.
Okay.
He got there an hour late, and I called. He lived not far away.
Okay.
And I would call 15 minutes. Are you here? Why are you answering the phone? Half hour, 45 minutes. He got there. I said, I'm not going. Fuck you. You came late. Is that stubborn?
That's a little obsessive.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I was also reading about the idea of how East Coast people, well, we hate the cold and everything, but we bond in that miserableness.
Yeah.
This neurotic
misery.
This
misery bonding.
Neurotic misery bonding.
Okay. I think you'll be fine.
Will there be anyone I can bond with
about the misery? I'm sure you can start an East Coast club if you feel so inclined.
How corny would that be?
It would be corny.
It wouldn't be. Couldn't get more pathetic than that. Hey, want to just bitch and moan about shit? Come on over and we'll pretend life's terrible. All right. What else do we have here? 25 minutes. Boy, we're talking and talking, huh?
I guess. Mostly you, but yeah.
Well, it's my podcast, so get your own podcast.
Yeah,
you want to talk more.
So,
Doc Gooden, I wanted to talk about too. Remember, we saw the 30 for 30, and he looked like shit.
Yeah, awful.
And
looks sick.
And I showed you the picture yesterday.
Yeah.
He said he's fine. There's no problem.
What are people speculating?
Well, Daryl Strawberry's just straight up saying to everyone he needs help. He's going to die. Doc Gooden came out yesterday and said, Daryl's got a lot of nerve, blah, 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 blah.
Really?
Something along those lines. And Doc was seen today wearing the exact same clothes he wore yesterday.
Yeah, you should at least.
Yeah, the times that I went out in public wearing the same clothes that I wore the day before, I was usually probably off a big bender. Yeah. The Yankees, of all places, the cruelest, most unfriendly.
What, did they open their arms to him?
They said they will pay for any rehabilitation.
Really?
They're probably just following in the footsteps of their father, because he actually was like a Father Flanagan, sort of, to Strawberry and Gooden, giving them second chances. I can't imagine there was really any human element to it, seeing I don't think they have souls. So I think Hal Steinbrenner...
The organization?
Yes. So I think Hal Steinbrenner probably said something like, how does this affect our profit margin? Or, blah, 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 blah. And Randy Levine Elantra said maybe he's not ready for a exclusive, drug rehabilitation center. He's not ready for that premium experience. Who knows? They're just heartless monsters, those people.
Okay.
I don't know. It just looks pretty rough for Doc.
And so Daryl is claiming that something's going on.
Yeah, and it looks
Even though in that 30 for 30, they didn't seem like they were all that close.
There was a lot. Remember that
There was a lot of tension.
Remember that one instance where I guess somebody, I forget if it was a media member or someone with the team, approached Daryl and they said, "Listen, somebody told us that one of the black superstars on this team is taking cocaine or whatever," and supposedly Daryl said immediately, "It's Doc." And in their little meeting at the diner, the Goodfellas diner, Daryl said, I never said that, Doc. I never said that. And I don't think Doc believed that for 1 second. Nah. If looks could kill, Daryl'd be dead on that table.
Holds on to that one. Yeah,
so yeah, it looks like, well, I think they were sort of linked because I think they were black.
You know what? That 30 for 30, besides that, it was more so the whole drug thing. They were trying to, it tried too hard, I think. It was good. It was interesting in what it said about each of them, but it was trying to establish some kind of link or bond that I don't think exists.
Yeah, I think they looked at both and they said these were the black superstars of this Mets team that never achieved what they were supposed to. They both had drug and alcohol issues. I don't think these guys ever really hung out. I think they both had issues, substance abuse issues, but I don't think they
were on the same team.
I don't think they hung out doing them that often, though.
I don't think so either.
I think Daryl seems to be. He probably enjoys being the life of the party, being gregarious and around people, while Doc, I'm merely speculating here. I think he wants to be sort of by himself when he does these things. And again, I don't know that, but I just get that vibe. Their personalities are...
He seems like a haunted man.
Yes,
sure.
And yeah, he was wearing the exact same clothes today.
That's not good.
No.
Obviously something's going on with them.
Yeah, and the Daily News is really relentless with it. Yeah, it's kind of odd, actually. Just like On Death's Door was on the front page today, which is a little bit morbid. I expect that out of the Post.
I was about to say, wouldn't that be more Post-like?
I mean, again, let's not act like a Daily News is New York Times. Yeah. It's a piece of shit, too. But, I don't know. Speaking of people who continue to have issues, well, not issues, I guess I shouldn't say that. Rapper DMX welcomed his 15th child.
Well, congratulations to him.
9 women.
Is he
and I loved the article. I read
starting up his own
little
nation colony.
I guess his pack. He loves the dogs, right? Come on! And the funniest thing...
It's awful.
What? What?
All of it. Keep going.
I was reading on TMZ that he had the baby,
Yes.
the latest baby.
He had the baby.
Jeez. The doctors were amazed. My father told me this joke last week. He said
It's a terrible joke.
he learned it in 3rd grade. Mary had a little lamb. The doctors were amazed.
I thought he came up with the joke. So
We're gonna have to clear that up. I highly doubt he came up with that one.
So it goes from
I
being
don't
not
think-
very impressive to even less so impressive. Okay.
Mary had a little lamb. The doctors were amazed.
Okay.
But he had he had the baby with his longtime girlfriend.
Okay.
Baby was named Exodus.
Okay.
But baby with the longtime girlfriend. Then
It's like an album name.
It's Bob Marley's, right?
Yeah.
Movement of the people. But then it said it is her first child.
Oh, Lord.
But it's his longtime girlfriend.
So the other 14 just happened to be...
Listen, it's also TMZ writing, which...
that's true. Why are you quitting?
But listen, they may not be the cleanest source, but they're usually pretty reputable when it comes to sources.
Okay.
Not, again, I don't think there's going to be any classes on dissecting the journalistic integrity and attributes of TMZ, but yeah, DMX, and I was talking about with somebody on Twitter the other day. I don't know how, did you hear DMX that often in Puerto Rico? DMX was sort of like party anthem songs, but if you ever sat down, and much of rap, which rap that I love from when I was growing up, you listen to the lyrics and it's complete just nonsense. Mm-hmm. The man barks like a dog all the time.
Okay.
Nonstop. He growls. Mm-hmm. You've heard him, right?
And this has what to do with the 15 children?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to talk about DMX. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he growls at the kid. I don't know. But Pride of Yonkers. So we got the Locks, DMX, and Simon and Yonkers, right?
Oh.
Pretty much the big three.
Big three.
Yeah.
Big
right?
three of Yonkers.
Yeah. Churchill, Roosevelt. Who was the other one? All right. Is that about it? Oh, there's one last thing I wanted to bring up. To Making a Murder.
Yes.
Do you know that Brendan Dassey was released from prison?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's going to be released. Excuse me. They overturned his conviction, and he's going to be released. And a porn site has raised money. Of all places, a porn site has raised money for him to attend WrestleMania. Because remember, he wanted to see WrestleMania.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Is that odd?
That is odd.
Yes, a porn site. They work in mysterious ways.
That's very strange.
Very strange. Very strange.
They're making a follow-up of that.
I still think, and I don't know if he's guilty. I still think Stephen Avery's guilty. But you know what it is? I almost feel like when you go online, people will watch these documentaries or they hear these things like Serial. And all of a sudden they act like they got their fucking law degree 2 days before. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost like a contrarian with it. When I'm like, I think all these guys are guilty. Okay. I think they're all guilty. Brendan Dassey might be the exception just because he was probably coerced because the guy is not all there. I think we can admit. I'm not saying that he's completely innocent, but I'm just saying if anyone
he must have been manipulated.
Oh, listen, those cops were.
Oh God, they were.
But again, you remember that documentary is also coming from one side.
Yes, I know how it works.
Really? So let's talk about that.
How about Nazir?
How about Nazir? I was going to say In the Still of the Night. Yes, we're going to break down 50 songs from the Platters. Night of. What really happened this week?
How about the lawyer and Nas?
Nas. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I did not like that.
I didn't know.
So the lawyer, not John Turturro, obviously, he was not making out with Nazir, but the.
Whatever.
Well, hey, come on, we're open, right? It's 2016. But she's Indian, right? Right. Mm-hmm. The Indian lawyer and Nazir. If you're familiar with the show, The Night of.
She's from the United States, so she doesn't.
The character.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're right. She's from the United States. Her parents were from India. Yeah. The only reason I remember is talking to the other lawyer. They start making out in like the bullpen there, in the holding cell. What is that?
That was kind of disappointing.
What else really happened in the episode, though? I think this is my prediction that we are going to be.
The mother wasn't in the court. She hasn't been in the court.
She storms out, not looking good for Nazir.
In the next,
I have a feeling we are going to be severely disappointed in this final episode.
You think so?
Yes.
Who do you think did it?
Imagine if he did it.
I've thrown out that theory, and you've said that the show can end that way.
But it can't. You're right. I've completely shot it down and said, you're wrong. I'm right. Which happens a lot. Right?
Yeah. I'm glad you've come to terms.
Right. But when I say it, it's genuine. And it's accurate.
That I'm right?
No, that I'm right.
Oh, I thought
no, I messed it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This Beck's beer is strong. All right. Okay. Well, I thank you for joining us. That's all we really had to talk about right now. I mean, right now we're sort of MLB is coming to. I mean, the Yankees hanging around. Your Red Sox. You haven't really watched. We haven't really watched a lot of them because we don't get that station right now.
TV, yeah.
But they have their young rookie Andrew Benintendi, who's doing well. Their pitching usually stinks, but David Price pitched well the other night. I think they're in sole possession of first place as we speak. And Andrew Swarzak, by the way, is never allowed on this fucking podcast ever. Okay? Ever. I don't care how many times he calls me or texts me, he's not coming on the fucking podcast.
He's not coming on.
No,
How about the Baby Bombers?
The Baby Bombers, Aaron Judge, Tyler Austin, all of them. They're allowed anytime. Gary Sanchez, whenever.
No. How are they doing?
Oh, I thought you meant their appearances on the podcast.
No.
They're doing. Gary Sanchez hits 2 home runs every day. It seems like. I haven't really heard much of Austin. Judge is sort of he gets his hits, but
how are the Cubs doing?
I think they're doing well. Baseball has become a very. I mean, this isn't a revelation here. It's become a very regionalized sport. You know about the things going on, and then the playoffs hit, and then it's just there's too many games.
Okay.
There's too many games in my
opinion.
opinion.
So what are you saying? Cut the season?
Yes. Yeah. These games don't mean as much. Like, I'm not going to wake up in the morning and go...
They still mean something.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think I'm looking...
We are at the end of August.
We are looking at it from a perspective where football is starting soon. And those games mean everything. That's why we know more about football. Someone asked me about the Arizona Cardinals. I could tell you a bunch of guys on the team, everything going on there. Well, about the Arizona Diamondbacks?
Okay.
It just sort of... Whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Sure.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Why don't you tell everyone your Twitter name?
No.
That wasn't a clear answer. So I guess that's a no. Remember, you can always listen to this show on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play. Do people use Google Play?
Sure.
Okay. And follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Remember to subscribe on those venues. And if they really like the show, what do?
Oh, they leave a review.
Yeah, they leave stars, or they leave a written review, because both are greatly appreciated. So with all that being said, I'm out of here.